Field, and I'm an expert, as we use that term loosely, in AI and ethics. I work for the UK government and military through my business OldfieldConsultancy. I'm a former senior lecturer in practice at LSE, and I do a lot of work with standards and AI in general. So I was looking for our next reaction video and I'm looking down through the titles on YouTube and I'm seeing how AI is underhyped and the amazing potential of ChatGPT. So I've picked the next video so that we can see exactly how much potential ChatGPT's got. And it's funny that it's another TED Talk. It seems to me that a lot of these TED Talks are very not only clickbaity, but very kind of positive spin on things, and there's not a lot of risks or safety concerns within them. So I suppose we'll see in this video what exactly they can tell us about risks, mitigations, and not only the sales side of things. Greg Brockman has just told us that he set up his company because he thought something interesting was happening in AI. I think generally people have more reasons than that to set up a company. But something interesting was happening and they wanted to steer it in a positive direction. Now that's interesting because they felt that they were able to one, steer it, and two, in a positive direction, neither of which he expands upon, which would have been nice to understand what he thought was happening, what was interesting, and what was the direction he felt he could steer it in. And did he feel that it was a negative space before and he needed to make it positive? Or was it just trundling along and he felt that he wanted to take it in a different direction? And the language here is interesting because positive means that there was negative before, and he's positioning himself as a hero character because he's bringing us into this new era with a new positive piece of software. So let's see how much more hype we can get from this video. What he says are very similar to Mustafa Suleyman, who we looked at in the last video. And I think it's interesting that the same kind of words are getting used. So, here's some social proof of the amazing things that we're doing. People think this. Look how good we are. This is all positive. We're in a historic period. We're all going to shape this, which, as we discussed in the last video, perhaps we're not all going to be shaping. Perhaps it will just be profit companies, an industry that do shape this. So it's interesting that right off the bat, within the first 2 minutes, we've been given the same kind of sales pitch that we got in the last TED video. It's all kind of the same spiel. And it's not setting this up for being a discussion about AI as a whole or anything to do with kind of the overall transparency of the tool. It looks like it's probably going to be another sales pitch. Great, he's building a tool for an AI rather than a human. So he's building a tool for an AI to use to do things for a human. So he's basically using, he's got another database called DALI, which is full of, I don't know, artwork, and it creates artwork. And then he wants the AI as an overarching AI to ask this new bolt-on to do something. So this bolt-on will do a picture according to what he's writing in there. That's interesting. You can do that. What you can also do is violate IP by training a model on artwork, the same as how you violate IP when you suction in everybody's essays and publish papers and then start to regurgitate what's in them. So even if this kind of works well and you get an image of a meal post head, great. Why? Why am I doing this? What do I want to generate an image of? Why can't I look that up and use somebody's original artwork and find that? Is it that this is going to be IP free? I can just use this, so I can rip off everybody's work in the back end of a bolt-on, and then I can put it through an AI, and then because it's been through an AI, it's not copyrighted anymore, so I can just use that, and that's absolutely fine. What's the process? Why do I want an AI generated artwork? Why can't I use something like Unsplash? Why are we taking away paying for people's work so that we can run it through an AI and then we can regurgitate something and then we can just use it? Or will it be that we use this and then we have to pay ChatGPT's company to generate this artwork off the back of everybody else's work that's been uploaded so that we can get something that kind of looks AI um, is slightly different, maybe. I mean, the artwork that I've seen currently from AI generated stuff is just awful. And I did put some on my blog post because I wanted to kind of see what people's reactions were. And I think I ended up taking it down because I just didn't even want to look at it. So it's the concepts within this are interesting. It's great to say, this is such a great tool and it works. Fantastic. But tell us more about how this works. See that the words that are being used are not correct. Um, this gives you this is an idea. It's coming up with an idea. It's not coming up with an idea. It's just scraping things from a database that would be a popular result if you look this up. Um, what would be a popular meal? Then this is a popular meal. It might even not look up post TED talk because people might not search that. It might just look up popular meal. And the creative back and forth, where is the creative back and forth with this? How is ChatGPT having a creative back and forth with DALL-E? Now, this is where you get into a problem because if you're in a room with somebody and you're having a creative back and forth where you're throwing ideas around and you're kind of coming to a conclusion, that's very different to a program scraping information from a database and taking a popular and or optimized meal plan and then delivering it to somebody on the front end. He's not showing you variations of this. He's not showing you popular meal for different things, popular meal for different situations. He's just showing you one example. One example doesn't prove anything. It doesn't validate a model. It doesn't verify it's working as it should. It just shows you that you can scrape something out of a database and regurgitate it. And using human related ideas and concepts such as idea and creative is a way in which sales and marketing happens. So these anthropomorphic type words are used to draw you in because then you feel that you can relate to these concepts and you can relate to the software because the software is now human. It's now got ideas, it's now being creative, it's now doing what you do, you can relate to it, it works how you do. And this is a well-established technique that I've written about extensively in my published papers. And so far, what we've had is, and this is the first few minutes, a really condensed sales pitch of really positive language, social proof, and now demonstration of why this is true in one example that is filled with anthropomorphic language that is solely designed to make you kind of integrate your thinking with this example and to think about it as a human type process so that then you buy into it more. So we're not getting anywhere close to where I would want to be at this point. I want to be having the discussion about how are we building it? What's the transparency? What are the risks? What are the issues? And the fact that these aren't coming up when these are really hot topic questions right now is concerning, but maybe we'll get to them throughout the video. Let's have another look. So 10 minutes in and I'm still only seeing sales. I'm seeing kind of you can use this after the presentation. There are loads of other tools that you can attach to it. So there's a huge utility. Not much being said about the transparency. He does go on to talk about other things such as verification and fact checking. Fact checking, that's a whole other wide ranging problem. So who's a fact checker? Who sets themselves up as a fact checker? Where is this bank of facts? Where is the place where all of these things that are set in stone exist and we know for an absolute fact that these things are facts? They're not justified beliefs, they're not beliefs, they're not thoughts, they're not presumptions, they are facts. I'm not sure where that is. I know that I got fact checked and I got thrown off LinkedIn for my peer-reviewed published paper. That was great. Which was not fact checked in any way whatsoever. So I don't know where these fact checkers are. And to be honest, what I have seen is fact checkers used to support narratives that probably shouldn't be pushed and narratives that fit the rules that certain platforms want you to abide by and will kick you off for, and narratives that polarize, divide, and cause discrimination and hate. So that's what I've seen fact checkers used for. Can you contact a fact checker? No, because they don't actually exist. There are not people going through all these things going, that's a fact, that's not a fact. And even if there were people doing that, who's got the right to say what's a fact? The same as who's got the right to say what is free speech. Who says what you can and can't say? Where are the boundaries? Where are the limits? Where is this dictionary of off-limit words? Things change every day, what's socially acceptable or not. But really, freedom of speech and fact checking, that's where we are. And then, this is fine because if you ask ChatGPT to generate something, it will give you a list of references. Okay. So I can look through many, many papers when I publish my papers, and the abstracts are not necessarily what the paper's about. And if you kind of scan the paper, you might think that it looks reasonable, but you have to read through it. Now, there's a few reasons for that. You've got to read through the paper to understand whether or not the claims are substantiated, whether or not they're correct. You can look through a lot of papers, and the reasoning and the logic can be broken, the statistical output can be incorrect, the way that it's presented can be misleading. So there's many reasons why you need to read through the paper. And what we won't do when we're doing real research, proper research, is just go and scrape a load of citations and just shove them in the paper, because that's just absolutely unethical. So you should be reading these papers, not only because you're going to take quotes from them, but you want to understand the point of view, understand the person, maybe read some more papers from that group or that person to understand what their general overview is and why they're doing this research. You also need to know what the funding status is. So sometimes people will write papers and they will be funded. Now, if they're funded, there might be a bias, things might be presented a certain way, the funder might have some sort of control over that paper. There are many issues. Now, asking ChatGPT to scrape the internet for something that is a citation that would fit with your argument, you can see why that's going to fail quite quickly. And if you want to just throw in citations into a paper that you're publishing, then do you really care about your paper that you're publishing? Or did you ask ChatGPT to write that as well? Because if you did, then where's your point of view? Where's your authentic voice? Where is your argument? You're writing a paper because you want to write one. You want to say something. You've got something to put out into the world. If you're just doing it as an exercise to write a paper, to hand in for a grade, and you don't care, then that's really saying something about self-respect and respect of your own abilities and respect of your voice. And that's quite sad for that to be the case if that's what's happening. So if I was going to write a paper, I would never use ChatGPT to write it or to edit it or to find me citations, because I feel that throughout my years of academic study and work, that I'm quite capable of doing that on my own. And it's quite, it's not the most complex skill, and I don't need an AI to do that for me. And what I also really don't need to do is have a paper written for me and have all the citations put on there, and then somebody dig into that paper and find out the citations are nonsense, or me dig into those citations and find out they're nonsense. Then I have to do all the work again because it's not what I want, or it's nonsense, or it's going to make me look stupid, or it's going to cause me reputational damage. I'll just do it myself, and then I know it's done correctly, and it's just not going to take that much time to do it. Now, if you wanted it to write you a list of, direct me in the direction of a paper. Okay, so that might be seen as reasonable because you go into the library, you type in something, you get a load of results, you read through them, and then what you'll do is read papers that they've cited so that you get a bigger overview. And that's a valid research technique. So you might use it as a starting point. Do you need to? No, because you can go into the library and you can type the same thing in the database and get citations up from there. So I'm not sure the utility of this or the usefulness of it. But what I will do is make sure that every single word that I ever write that goes out is mine and it's edited. And if there's spelling issues, it's mine. If there's editing issues, it's mine. It's mine. And I take full responsibility for that. And I do not need an AI tool to do my work for me. Thank you very much. I'm great. I know that it's used as well for churning out social media content. If you haven't got the time, slash can't be bothered, slash run out of ideas and you need to ask ChatGPT to do that for you, then perhaps take a break and get some, reignited passion, come back to that. Put your own authentic voice out there. You don't need an AI to write this for you. If you're constantly churning out content and just throwing it out there and ChatGPT is writing it, maybe consider what you're doing that for, because you're just basically polluting the web with AI generated stuff that's not even an authentic human voice, and it's certainly not your voice if you're asking ChatGPT to write it. So think about why you're using these tools and what they're there for. This tool is there to make money, and it's there to make profit for the company that built it. It's not there for free. The reason it's there is to make money. So it wants you to use it. It wants to try and give you the illusion of things being made easier so that you'll use it, because then you are going to get classics. You'll save time. You don't have to do the work. You can get some ideas for free. This is creative. It's got an idea. Use that instead of your own. Why do you need to think? Let this thing think for you. Um, it's a sales tactic. So before you start using these tools, just consider, where does the paid plan start? What am I using it for? Why am I using it? What am I ultimately trying to do? Where's my voice? What am I trying to express? What do I want to be known for? And all these kinds of things, before you start going and kind of taking every single bolt on and the whole of ChatGPT to use, because ultimately, again, profit sits behind it. There is a reason that it's there, and it is not for you to be able to necessarily achieve what you want to do. It's for you to do what they want you to do with the tool so that they can take your money. So we've just got to be careful with why the tool's there, what it's being used for, what are the motives behind it, and what are we actually doing in the first place when we decide to use this. That's me out of a job. There's a load of data. I don't know what I want to do with it. So, ChatGPT, what can I do with it? Um, there's a reason that we do many years of training in statistics. There's a reason why we've got chartered statisticians. There's a reason why we've got a professional body for statisticians. There's a reason why we don't just do things in statistics. There's many reasons. And where to start? So your data that you've got, you need to know what the data is, because if you don't know what the data is that you've got, you can't do anything. Your data could be wrong. It could have missing values. It could have all kinds of skewedness. It's representative of society. It's going to be biased in some way. And you're going to say to me, well, tell ChatGPT to do that as well. Well, then, what are we going to do? ChatGPT, here's a massive list of instructions. Can you check it for this, and then do some graphs and then do this? And I don't know what I want. Tell me some output. Oh, great. What was the aim in the first place? What was the question? What were we trying to achieve? Why are we doing this? The reason that we do things in statistics is we look at a problem and we say, or a question or a hypothesis, and we say, we want to know X. So let's collect some data. That is done in a certain way. And it's done in a certain way because it needs to be ethical and robust. And if it isn't, then you have serious issues at the other end of the analysis, and you have serious issues when you make decisions on it. You then choose an appropriate method. Not all of the appropriateness criteria are written down in textbooks. Some of it is dependent on your data, and some of it is dependent on how it was collected and the amount of data and how the data is represented. There are many different things that we need to consider, and that is why we do so much training. I'm not just paying for my degree, a master's and PhD because I can just get an AI to do this. I'm doing it because I actually need to know a lot of stuff. And I need to be able to apply all that out of my toolbox to whatever given situation. And these situations can be absolutely random. One week I could be working on a media question or a question about clinical interventions or a Brexit question or a transport question, optimization, AI, all kinds of different things, all kinds of different things. But we've got ChatGPT now, so why do we need anybody? We can just ask it to write a paper. Um, I mean, so ChatGPT, right? I want to do X, write me a paper, get some citations. Excellent. Right, send that to another AI to read it and mark it. Okay. What are we doing? What are the humans doing? Where's the human? What was the question? Why are we doing it? If the AIs are just going to deal with the AIs, what's the point? You just created a world of AIs that are just all doing these tasks and then talking to each other and then marking their own work. Um, where are we in it? What's happening? I mean, if you follow some of these arguments to their logical conclusion, that's where you get to. You get to a nonsense place where you've just got AIs running around doing things, these kind of bounded tasks. They're not doing anything, thinking, creative, etc. They're just doing bounded tasks that they're asked to do, and they work within these bounds that they're coded in. Because bear in mind, behind all this stuff is a lot of code, and it all has to be really explicit as to what this tool's going to do. I I don't know where he's going with this. I don't know what the point is. If you want to get a certain functionality, yes, fair enough, you've got that. You're doing a really good job at selling it. But what's the point? Where are we going here? If I just want to kind of churn out, crap, basically, then I can sit here and write me this, write me this, write me this. Right, publish, publish, publish. Eventually you're going to get in trouble for plagiarism or nonsense work. Unless there's an AI at the other end that's like, yeah, great, ChatGPT, another good published paper. And then you've got journals online and papers online that are published and they're just spam, just constantly just churning out spam. And it's not original thought, it's just whatever the popular direction ChatGPT has decided to take. I mean, so far in this video, we've kind of put artists out of work, we've put writers out of work, we've put social media content writers out of work, probably social media content designers. Statisticians, we don't need them now because ChatGPT can do that work. So really mathematicians are going to be closely behind them. Computer scientists, well, if you can code using this stuff, do we need them as well? Could we just have an AI that codes and then another AI that checks it, and then we'll just use whatever that is because we don't ever need to look at the inside of it. Yeah, so what am I going to do now? I'm just going to sit here and I don't know, I'm free. I've got no way of earning any money anymore. I've been replaced by an AI, so I suppose I'll just get creative. That's what they say. Once we don't have a job anymore, we can do value added and creative. I feel like what I do is value added. So I'm not sure that ChatGPT can fill that gap. Um, Thoughts? I mean, I'm not sure where this is going. We're kind of halfway through the video, so I suppose we'll continue to the end, but I'm not seeing what I want to see. I'm not seeing the transparency. I'm not seeing the impact on IP. I'm not seeing what's the alternative for all of our jobs when we're not working anymore because they're doing all of our work. What is the risk, clearly, of this level of, let's throw spam out there and have an AI do our jobs. This is the difference between what are we doing? Why are we doing it? Should we be doing it? Doing it in an appropriate, robust, and ethical way, and then being really transparent with it. The difference between that and what's happening here is the profit and the sales part of it. Great, sell this stuff, but yeah, there are issues. Let's have a look at the last part of this video. Yeah, we've got Chris Anderson on the stage saying everybody's thinking that they need to rethink how they work. No, I don't, and I don't want to. I'm quite happy. I'm confident in my skills. I can do this stuff. I can teach it. I don't need whatever tool it is that you're trying to peddle. And then there's just more kind of positive hype, sales. Great. I think I'm gonna leave this video here because I'm not sure that there's anything else that's useful to say because this clearly is another TED sales video, which is really disappointing. I mean, the title did give it away that it was going to be kind of hypey, but it's again, I mean, it's disappointing. If I speak about my work, I speak about the the positives and the negatives and the caveats, the assumptions, the risks, the mitigations, the issues on the other end. But then again, I wouldn't build something that just scrapes other people's work and then passes it off as your own either. So I think there's a lot of issues here, and I think there's a lot that needs to be addressed. And I think we've covered a lot of that, and we covered a lot of that in the last video as well. And I think that TED really needs to reassess what it's doing with its videos because I don't think that a sales platform is appropriate. I think that TED videos should be about learning something and understanding something a bit better. And yes, we have learned the positives about this tool, I suppose, that they're presenting to us, that they are giving us as positives. We have learned about what it can do. We've not really learned so much how it works. We've not learned anything about transparency, risks, mitigations, ethics. So if you're going to present the positive, you need to present the negative. I mean the ethical part of it, and a lot of people might think that ethics is the negative part, but it's actually the safety part. And what is not kind of sexy in this environment is the safety belt. But neither was that sexy in cars until there were so many accidents that we realized, well, actually, let's stop people from dying and put safety belts in. At this point, the safety belt's missing, and I think that perhaps we need to find that and we need to start using it so that we can have a safer environment of technology, software, and AI, and we can kind of regulate this hype message a little bit more so that we can get to the bottom of things a lot better and understand, is this safe for me? Is this safe for us? Is this even something that I want to do? Or is it just hype and I can kind of just move on, not waste my time, do something more useful with my time instead of trying to explore a tool that, maybe doesn't work that well, maybe isn't that ethical. I don't know. I've not really got enough information off this video to really be able to comment on that. From what he's showing, it does look like it does what he says he's trying to do with it, but I'm not sure why he's trying to do that with it in the first place. So yeah, thanks for watching this reaction video. If you've got any other videos you want me to review or react to, please post in the comments. If you'd like and subscribe, I'd really appreciate that, and I look forward to seeing you on the next video.